Welcome back to All This Math. This is Professor Parker. If you're here, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed already, hit the subscribe button. All right. If you have any questions about anything that I attempt to explain during this video, please put your questions in the comment section. All right. Also, share this video with somebody. All right. Share this video with somebody. Today we're doing some local Philly math. We're dealing with SEPTA, right? Based on some information I read in an article recently, right? That I think anybody that catches SEPTA should be aware of. And also I got my Central High School sweatshirt on, right? I'm not an alum of Central High School, but I did teach at Central for a year from 2015 to during the 2015 to 2016 school year, right? So I taught at Central, made some connections with some solid students, and some of them I'm still in contact with. We in 2025. This is 10 years later. A lot of them are, making moves in the world, doing their thing. Had a good experience there. Taught math, taught algebra 1 and geometry. Taught geometry to 10th graders and taught algebra 1 to one section of ninth graders, maybe two sections. I can't really remember. But and I also want to give a shout out to Mr. Harper. Mr. Harper was a brother that was actually a Central alum and actually was the chair of the math department, right? And he actually hired me. He actually, sought me out and hired me, So I want to shout him out. He was also the basketball coach. I don't know if I said that already, but yeah, he was the chair of the math department, taught a couple sections of calculus and some other stuff while he was there during the year that I was there, and he was the varsity basketball coach, and he's since retired, But yeah, shout out to him. So, like I said, I was reading the article, and it was about SEPTA, and it was about this fair evasion enforcement blitz, right? Enforcement blitz. So anybody that's familiar with football, you know what a blitz is, right? So they're increasing their enforcement, right, on fair evasion. So what does that apply to? Like people that are trying to take the sub or the L and they don't want to pay, or they're not able to pay. Maybe they're not able to pay, right? Maybe it's not any like real malfeasance or maybe involved. Maybe it's nothing nefarious. Maybe they just got to get where they got to get to, and they really don't have the money. Like sometimes people legitimately don't have the money, right? But they still need to get to where they got to get to, right? Maybe they try and get to work, but they don't get paid until tomorrow, right? Or maybe they lost they septic key pass or whatever. Anything could have happened, right? So people that hop the turnstile, right, on the Broad Street line to catch the sub, or on the Market Frankfurt L line to catch the L, right? People that hop the turnstile or whatever, right? That's fair evasion. Or maybe people that get on the trolley without paying or get on the bus without paying. I don't know. I don't know how that really works. I'm not sure about that. But it says the information I saw in the article is that fines are they currently range. There's a range. That's a mathematical term. They range from $25 to $150. So the range would be the difference between these two amounts. So this represents a range of, see, I wasn't even planning on talking about this in this video, but we could talk about it. The range would be $125, right? Because to find the range, right, you'll see this in the statistics course when you're dealing with mean, median, and mode, and box and whisker plots and stem and leaf graphs and all that, right? You take the highest amount and subtract the smallest amount, and that gives you your range. So 150 minus 25 is 125. That's your range, right? And that's the range here. It's a $125 range. Now, the article also said that a municipal court judge, I left the word court out, a municipal court judge could increase this up arrow means increase the fine to $300. So what currently is a $25 fine, you go before that judge, the judge can say, you know what, I'm gonna charge you $300 for that. Or you go before that judge and what was a $150 fine, they could say, you know, I'm gonna charge you $300 for that. I'm gonna bang you or hit you over the head for $300 for that instead. Or it could be something in between. It could be an amount in between these two amounts. It could be a $50 fine, it could be a $75 fine, $100, $125, whatever, $140, $145, whatever, right? Now, the question I have is, what percent increase is this, right? Whether the judge says, look, this would have been a $25 fine, but now I'm gonna make you pay $300. Or this would have been a $150 fine, but now I'm gonna make you pay $300, right? Let's figure that out, the percent increase, because why? Why is this? Because it's important for us to understand percentages. Percentages are the language of business. Percentages are the language of commerce. So whatever side of the transaction you're on, whether you are the buyer or the seller, you need to understand the language of percentages. And this is a great way for you to practice using percentages. And it also gives you a different perspective on what's happening, right? Percentages are just that important. So this would be a percent increase problem, because I'm asking the question, what percent increase is this from 25 to 300 or from 150 to 300. There is a formula for that. There's a nice, neat formula that I suggest everybody watching this memorize. This is the formula. It goes like this. Percent change. This triangle represents change. That's a symbol for change. That's a symbol we use in algebra, in calculus, in physics, right? It's the Greek letter delta, which represents change, right? If something goes from one amount to another, that's change. All right. So the percent change is equal to the new amount or quantity minus the old amount or quantity divided by the old amount. And then you take that fraction, right? Take that fraction and then you multiply that fraction by 100. So the new amount minus the old amount, that's your numerator. Your old amount is also just your old amount is your denominator. And you take that fraction value and multiply by 100. So we're gonna do this twice because I want to know what the percent increase is. If you go in there and you got a $25 citation and you stand before a judge and the judge tells you, nah, I'm gonna hit you over the head. You gotta pay 300 because SEPTA's trying to get more money, right? They on an enforcement blitz, right? And or if you go in there with $150, ticket, and then the judge tell you, nah, you gotta pay 300, right? I want us to know what the percent change is. All right. So now let's do it first for the $25. So if the amount is increased to 300 and it was 25, that means 25 is the old amount, 300 is the new amount because you expected it to be 25 originally, but then they switched it up on you and now you got to pay 300. So that's going to be 300 is the new, 25 is the old. So it's going to be 300 minus 25 divided by 25 times 100. Right? 300 minus 25 over 25 times 100. So ask yourself, what's 300 minus 25? That's 275. What's 275 divided by 25? I could get a calculator, but you don't need a calculator for this. This is mental math. You know why? Because 25 is a factor of 275. 25 is a factor of 275, right? Think about it. Think of 275 as $2.75. Think of 25 as 25 cents. 25 cents is a quarter. How many quarters does it take to make $2.75? I know it takes 4 quarters to make $1, another 4 quarters to make $2, and then to make the 75 cents, another 3 quarters. So that's 4 plus 4, which is 8. 8 plus 3 is 11. That's 11 quarters. If it takes 11 quarters to make $2.75, right? And if you don't believe me, just think about it. Think about it. Write it down on paper. Do whatever you got to do. But it takes 11 quarters to make $2.75. That means that 275 divided by 25 is equal to 11 because 11 25s or groups of 25 can fit into 275. That's what that means. So now let's do this right here. So now we got 11 times 100. So now we got 11 times 100. What's 11 times 100? Hold up. That's slanted. I don't like how that looks. So we got 11 times 100. Now, whenever you multiply any number by 100, all you really need to do is just take the 2 zeros from 100 and attach it to the other factor. In this case, the factor is 11. So take 2 zeros and attach it to 11. So you get 1100. So what does that mean? That means that this represents an 1100%, over a 1000% increase, which is crazy. A 1000% increase. So a $25 ticket being increased to $300, that's a 1,100% increase. Now, mind you, a 100% increase means it's doubled, right? If something goes up by 1,100%, that means it increased by 12 times. 12 times, right? Because if it went up by 200%, that means it tripled. So you kind of can just say, okay, with 200, okay, what's in the hundreds place? 2, okay? Triple means 3. So you take the number, right? In this case, 11. You got an 11 right here, right? So you increase that by 1, you get 12. That means that the original amount, $25, increased by 12 times, to become $300, right? That's a 12-time increase. 1,100% is wild. Now let's see what the deal is with 150. Let's do the same formula. New minus old divided by old. I'm gonna write it right here. Let's see. New would be 300 still. Old would be 150. Old again, 150 times 100, right? 300 minus 150 is 150. What's 150 divided by 150? What's anything divided by itself? Anything divided by itself is 1. So this is 1, and then times 100, which is 100%. Now, why does this make sense? Because whenever something doubles, that represents a 100% increase. A 100% increase, because 100% is the entire amount. So 100% of $150 is $150. Again, 100% of $150 is $150. So if it went up by 150, because what's 150 plus 150? 300. 150 plus 150 is 300. So that means it went up by 100%. It went up by the whole amount. You already had, so 300 includes the original 150 plus the extra 150. 150 times 2 gives you 300. That's a 100% increase. So whenever you see a 100% increase, write this down in your notes. Whenever you see a 100% increase, that means that the original amount doubled. 150 times 2 is 300, right? I was going to tell you all that in the beginning, but I decided to just do the math and then talk about it later. All right. So what have we learned here? So based on this information that SEPTA put out in this article that I read recently, the fines that are currently fair evasion, there's a fair evasion enforcement blitz. The fines that currently they range from $25 to $150, right? But now, if you go before a judge, a municipal court judge, the fine could go up to $300. So the $25 fine could go up to $300. The $150 fine could go up to $300, right? The $25 fine, if it goes up to $300, that represents an 1,100% increase, right? 12 times as much, an 1,100% increase, which is wild, right? 100% increase is wild, actually. So, 1,100% increase is wild, all right? And also, see, the fact that I know that it's wild, I only know that it's wild because I'm familiar with percentages, and I understand percentages, and I understand percent change, and I understand this formula. If you don't have a familiarity from not actually practicing and doing these problems, then somebody will tell you, oh, it's going up by 1,100%. You're just going to think that's regular. That's not regular. That is not regular. That's crazy. Something going up by over 1,000%. Like I said, even something going up by 100% is wild, right? So now, the tickets that was 150, they go up to 300. That represents a 100% increase. So now, because we know this information, now you might be wondering, like, why should I care? How's this going to help me? Because now we can start asking questions. So now, when people say, well, you know what? If y'all raising these fair evasion, citations like this, then a year from now or whenever, when y'all talking about y'all gonna raise fares, why do y'all need to raise fares? I thought y'all was getting more money from this 1,100% increase on people that are evading paying the fares. How much money are you generating? How much revenue are you generating from that? Right? So these are things to keep in mind, right? But again, when you do mathematics, you understand mathematics, you can start asking better questions. If you don't know the math, you can't ask no questions. You're not gonna be able to. You can't ask no questions. You just gotta just take whatever they give you. Just listen to whatever they say. Just believe whatever they say, no matter what the corporation is, no matter what the agency is. It could be a governmental entity, it could be a major a private corporation, it could be whatever. If you can't do the math, they're just gonna be doing what they do, and you're just gonna be at their mercy. You don't want to be at their mercy. So learn math. Learn math so people won't be able to play in your face without you even knowing about it. Keep that in mind. All right. So like the video if you didn't already. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We got over 900 videos. We got playlists, all types of playlists. We go from arithmetic all the way up to calculus. All right. We got something on here that you need if you're not too interested in this. But share this with somebody, at least one other person. And if you still got questions about anything I explained or tried to explain, put your question in the comments. All right. See y'all on the next video.